going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Red Gold Standard Podcast. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, Matt Llewellyn, and our guy, Mike Andrews of Nothing But Niners. Thanks for tuning into this great special emergency show. I say emergency show, even the news was like 7 hours ago, but this is as soon as we can go. So thanks for everybody for tuning in. Hit like, hit subscribe if you're here. We appreciate everybody. Now that we got all that out, Matt, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing well, man. Listen, the last piece of the puzzle that I needed to fall into place before Sunday finally fell into place today. Nick BOSA gets paid. It was a long time coming, and it's one of those things where it took too long to get it done, and I'm glad that it did get done. Damn, we already got a chat. Matt, where's my 97 jersey? Listen, the last time I wore it was the last show before Nick BOSA got signed. I'm saving that magic for Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay. We got everything out of the way that we needed to get out of the way. Now on Sunday, I'm going to wear it again. It's got that good juju. I need that for the win.
Hell yeah. I love it. Before I toss it over to Mike, if you guys are tuning in on Twitter, head over to youtube.com/49ers Hive and join from there so we can see and interact with your comments. While you're at youtube.com/49ers Hive, hit like, hit subscribe, and a monster will not come out from under your bed and eat you alive tonight. That's the only way to guarantee that. Mike, how you doing?
Guys, I am good. I'm really, really excited. Nick BOSA got locked down, and I think this is the biggest morale boost for the team that we've seen in a really long time. We'll break down what exactly happened, what happened following this news, what happened leading up to this news in order for it to happen. And I think that you guys will quickly understand why I think this was a huge morale boost for the entire team. This is going to be something that is phenomenal going forward. And this is exactly what we needed less than a week heading into week one. I'm really excited. Can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah. Let's get right into it. I love it. All right. So we've been, bird dogging our phones, seems like for the past 2 weeks now, waiting for this news from Schefter or Rap Sheet, whoever the hell was going to break it, to come in. And it finally came in today, 7 hours ago. Let me pull up the tweet here. Get this tweet texted to me in the 49ers Hive group chat, and the chat's absolutely going wild. Per Adam Schefter, Nick BOSA has agreed to a 5-year, $170 million extension with 49ers, including $122.5 million guaranteed. By a wide margin, it will make him the highest paid defensive player in history. Averages out to $34 million per year. And Mike, you were just telling me $50 million signing bonus due, up front. First thoughts, Matt, I'm gonna throw it to you first. When this hit your phone, what were your first thoughts?
Man, I was happy that it got done. And then my second thought was looking at what Nick BOSA got, what the guarantees were. I'm like, so the 49ers waited all this time just to give Nick BOSA exactly what he wanted. Like, y'all played around just to kind of cave in at the end. And make no mistake, this is much more the 49ers caving than any type of gesture on Nick BOSA's part to meet the team halfway, because the goal should have been 32, right? Let's get above Aaron Donald. He cleared Aaron Donald by another $2 million, whatever, 2.3 million or whatever per year. 122.5 million in guarantees is a huge guaranteed number for a non-quarterback, particularly a defensive player. He got everything he wanted, man. Like, what did the 49ers get out of this, really, other than the services of Nick BOSA continuing?
Mike?
I think there's a voidable year at the end of this contract. I think the Niners fought for that. I think this is all about language, to be completely honest with you, right? When Nick BOSA was drafted as a first-round rookie, he fell in our laps, number 2 overall, guaranteed salary, guaranteed contract. However, there was still a holdout leading up to it, right? What does that tell you? That means that the language, the verbiage used in these contracts means more to the BOSA family than the actual dollars and cents. I want to know exactly what I'm going to get, whether I'm hurt or not. When the fine details of this contract come out, and they have not come out yet, to my knowledge anyway, I think we're going to see things like injury guarantees being through the roof. I think we're going to see things like roster bonuses, not workout bonuses. Why not workout bonuses? Well, because if I pull a hamstring, or if I have a pectoral issue or something like that, or a bicep issue, and I can't work out, I don't want you to say I'm not worth the money, because I'm going to be ready by week 1. So I'm looking for roster bonuses. I am looking for signing bonuses and things like that, the easy incentives 10 sacks, a double-digit bonus, as opposed to a 15-plus sack incentive, right? Like little things like that I think Nick Bosa is capable of getting year in and year out, almost the gimme incentives. I think those are going to be the ones that are included in here, and that's the language that the two sides were really, really working out. This was a good deal. I think that Matt had a good point with the, you go from 31.7 to 34, and how does that break down? Well, Aaron Donald signed his deal 2 years ago. The cap has gone up both years since then. It's about on par. If you were to look at the percentages of the cap space, Nick Bosa got about 1.3% more than what Aaron Donald got when you look at the overall number. I don't think that's terrible at all, especially considering they reset the tight end market by 50% when it was George Kittle's time to get his contract. So this is next to nothing in comparison to that. I think this is a win-win for both sides. The Niners knew what they needed to do, and the players were also in on this extension. We'll break that down in a few minutes also.
Yeah, this was – go ahead, Matt. Do you have something to add?
No, I was just going to say, at the end of the day, I don't even really care about the AAV. I'm looking at the other things that are records, right? $122.5 million guaranteed for a non-quarterback record. $50 million signing bonus. So he's getting a $50 million check that he's going to get. Also a record for non-quarterback. So to me, this is a Bosa, more Bosa-friendly deal than a team-friendly deal. I think both sides are going to be happy. Like Mike said, we don't know all of the details, but just the fact of the matter that Bosa got records in like really guaranteed money, which is what you really look for, particularly at such a physical position. And the fact that he's going to get to clear a $50 million check in the next however long it is, those are big wins for Bosa. So to me, I think that he made out like a bandit, and he held his ground. And I think the team realized that, they needed to pay him. It was weird that it took so long.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
I don't know who you guys bank with, but my little punk behind credit union takes a while for a $5,000 check or a $10,000 check, right? Or a $17,000 check to clear. Like they do it in increments. How long do you think it takes Bosa's bank account? Because if it were me, if I make the kind of money that these guys make, I have multiple accounts, right? Because the FD, what is it? FDIC?
Yeah, they only insure up to, I think it's 750,000.
Right. So how many bank accounts? I don't think they have that many accounts to insure it, right? But they go with safe institutions and things like that. However, how many accounts do you think he has? Because that's all that Niners check is one check that he has to sign, endorse, and deposit. How long do you think a check like that takes to clear? Just curious.
Probably not long. I mean, anybody who's in the know in the banking industry, there's a difference between Mike Andrews and Matt Llewellyn and Zach Hernandez versus Nick Bosa cashing a check from, paid to the order of Nicholas John Bosa from the offices and bank accounts of the San Francisco 49ers. It's a lot different. They're all high money transactions. So, just think about even on his rookie deal, right? What are you looking at for game checks that he's getting? I mean, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's not like it's you or I get paid however X amount of money per week, and then all of a sudden I get this huge check. Of course, that's going to like red flags or whatever. Yeah. But all the bank managers are going to know, right? As soon as that gets kicked up to him, it's going to be like, oh, okay. No. This is a professional athlete from a professional football team. We'll clear this a little bit quicker, especially if the 49ers actually have that funding liquid, which they have to cover it.
And I highly doubt Nick's going to the teller tomorrow trying to withdraw 50 mil. Like, he doesn't need that cash, all that amount anytime soon.
Here's the other thing too. They probably do a direct deposit.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Which is different than just a check.
Yeah.
Direct deposit just hits.
Yeah.
I would still want to check just to frame it. Like if you can do the direct deposit and write like voidable across it or something like that, but I would want that check in a frame. $50 million at one time too. Yeah. Like the Publishers Clearinghouse joints.
Hell
right?
yeah.
Like
you knew exactly what I was talking about. Yep. One of those golfing tournament ones where they hand you the big ass check. Yep.
And make Jed's little ass deliver it. Walk his ass to my front door.
Was that movie? Was it Happy Gilmore where he keeps all the big ass checks in the back of his car or whatever, saving up for his grandma or whatever?
I forgot about that. All right. So also, I saw somebody else commented in here too. It was announced pretty shortly after that the 49ers made some cap space through contract negotiations with reworked George Kittle and Trent Williams' deals, and they freed, I want to say, about a little over $23 million.
That's correct.
I just had the tweet up here. But do you guys think that this was something done to get the BOSA deal done, even though I know none of the new money kicks in until next year? Is it something done to just help them get under the cap space even more to roll over next year? Or, this is what people are speculating, are they still trying to make a move? Is there a move out there to be made that they feel like they could still make?
I mean, Chris Jones don't seem to be happy in Las Vegas.
Chris
Chandler, excuse me.
Chandler Jones.
Whatever. You know what I mean.
Chris Jones and KC.
Jones is holding out with Kansas City.
Yeah.
All right, there's a lot of turmoil in the AFC West. Listen, guys, I still have a newborn, okay? Give me a break. Chandler Jones is not happy in Las Vegas, and I think that would be a good piece to kind of look at. I think they could probably make one or two more moves, depending on how much. I think it was like 23.6 is what they cleared in cap space by restructuring. I think not a lot. It's not going to BOSA. I don't think that's the case, because I don't think BOSA is getting any new money this year. They can spread the signing bonus out against the cap over 2 years. Someone was speculating, and I don't know how true that is, that his cap number could actually go down after this deal. So it's really going to be interesting what they do with that extra cap. But it seems like that they made it for a reason. So who knows, man?
Per Field Yates, it's 23.22 million, the combined total with both of them. Mike, did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I said that this was something that teammates wanted to make happen, right? And I think that this shows the most unity in the 49ers locker room, because the two players that they restructured were on the opposite side of the ball, right? In the beginning of the season, we heard Trent Williams and George Kittle both say that there's no more guarantees in our contract. So this is a win now team.
Wait, George and Trent are on the same side of the ball.
I know that, but I'm saying it's the opposite of BOSA.
Gotcha.
They made this space for the BOSA deal to take place. And to me, this shows a lot of really good unity, because, those guys could have said, it's got nothing to do with our side of the ball. Why don't they restructure Fred Warner? You know what I mean? Why don't they restructure Travarius Ward or someone like that who's been injured a couple of times and things like, they could have easily said no, but both of those guys mentioned that we don't have any guarantees going forward. And that's why they were emphasizing that this is a win now team. This is way before the trade of Trey Lance or anything like that, but that was their sentiment, right? Like, and Kittle made it a point to say, once those guarantees run out, our futures aren't guaranteed for this team. So we have to go out there and try to win it all this year. Like, this is the year that we're going to focus on. It's 1 year at a time, not in the future. This provides security for those guys as well. This also, provides a little bit of relief for the team going forward. They were over the cap next year. Now I don't know where they fall. I haven't looked at anything to see where they are next year, but it definitely helps. No matter what, and no matter how you spin it, it helps.
So also, I thought it was notable that Kyle was asked in the press conference, because it happened like minutes after the press conference occurred, minutes after this news broke, if he would play this week, and he's like, obviously I haven't seen him physically, but unless he's got a giant beer belly, he's gonna play Sunday. So I think that's very, very promising to hear. They got this deal done just in time. And I forget who said, I think it was Marty, that he's in Florida. It's a 5.5 hour flight. He should be here by probably right about now, actually. So done deal.
One thing for Mike, that cap space that was created was 2023 cap space. So I don't know how it affects 2024, but that 23 million is for the cap space this year. I think it was reported by the unofficial cap guy, Jason. Gosh, I always face him. No.
Jason Hurley.
Yeah, that when the BOSA deal was first announced, he had calculated out that the 49ers were like $640,000 under the cap. So this frees up more space. I wonder if they're looking to bring in, kind of like a hired assassin, somebody that can come in for a year or somebody like that can help this team get over the top if there's a position group that they really feel could use the extra help.
And don't forget that anything that's not used carries over to next year. So this is going to be relief no matter how you spin it. It's going to be relief.
True.
And I
23 seems like a lot to just sit on for the entire year, though, if you know what I mean.
It does. I saw someone in the chat say, "Oh, it's going to be for BA." I don't know that BA is in the team's future. We can touch on that later if you guys want. But
they asked him, and sorry to cut you off, Mike, but they asked him today, actually, are you next? And he kind of just grinned and said, "I hope so. We'll see." Look, man, I know it's going to be tough. They have the highest paid or the top 3 highest paid at their position at like 6 or 7 different players now. But this team needs Brandon Ayuk. Like, and dare I say, more than Deebo Samuel? It's like, did the arrival of Christian McCaffrey make Deebo Samuel redundant? I love Deebo, but CMC can do what Deebo does. He's a running back that can play wide receiver, and Deebo is a wide receiver that can play running back. So, in my opinion, if it came down to it and both are on a chopping block and I had to save one, I'd keep BA. I'm sorry. I know Deebo's a fan favorite, but BA is that guy. Like, he's a dog. He could be a true number 1 receiver. If he was in a team like Dallas or, these other high-powered offenses that are throwing the ball a lot, I have no doubt in my mind he'd be putting up 14, 15, 1,600 yards consistently. I think that's how good he is.
And just keep in mind, Deebo Samuel is a post-June 1st cut next year. Will give the 49ers $17.1 million in cap savings. That's a big-ass number.
Say that again. What'd you say?
If Deebo Samuel is cut after June 1st, right, he has a prorated bonus next year of 6.65, and his guaranteed salary is 4.7, which equates to about 11.4. His total salary, his cap number for next year is 28.5. So if they cut him, they save $17.1 million against the cap.
Okay. So I have been in the give me BA over Samuel for a while. I take all of that back now. This team going forward with Brock Purdy has been, for all intents and purposes, struggling with the downfield throws, which is where BA actually thrives, right? Everything
Bullshit.
is no. Just hear me out. Just hear me out. I'm talking about the practice reports. I'm talking about what we've seen during preseason. I'm only talking about
Brandon Ayuk. He's the best route runner on the team.
He absolutely is. But you gotta hear me out, right?
All right.
So I'm watching with what they're saying his deficiencies are after the arm injury. They're saying that he's struggling to get the ball down the field. Anything past 10 yards. I think he completed 1 pass all preseason over 10 yards. And I'm not saying that that's going to stay the same. I expect him to improve. Let me be very clear with what I'm saying. But if for some reason he doesn't, Deebo is more effective this year with the current situation than Brandon Ayuk is, because Deebo does a lot of pass catching behind, at, or just above the line of scrimmage, where Ayuk is going to be the 7, 10, 15 yards down the field type of guy. The route running is phenomenal. He's going to get open down the field, but Deebo does the short and intermediate areas that Purdy thrives in. These are the plays that we were saying that Trey Lance couldn't make. And that bodes well for the future of this team if he's going to have some more time to recover and get the ball down the field. So as of today, with the current standing of the team, I would take Deebo over Brandon Ayuk until we see more from Purdy going forward. That's all I'm saying. Until we see him do it post-injury, which we haven't seen, I'm going to say that, 19 is more important than 11, just right now. Not that I think that he's a better route runner, not that I think that he's a better receiver or anything like that. Deebo has more drops. Deebo has the shorter passes to him, and he makes plays after he gets the ball in his hand. He breaks more tackles. I just think that bodes well for Deebo right now, the way we currently stand, until we see different. That's all I'm saying.
Matt, you have a response?
I just think I don't know. I disagree. Just mainly because what does Deebo do better to help Brock Purdy than Brandon Ayuk? Like Zach said, it's already covered. There's only so many short yardage throws that you can make to somebody, and it seems like Christian McCaffrey has that already handled. Debo works best at the line of scrimmage. Debo works best as, like that mixed kind of gadget guy, but they have that in CMC. In terms of pure route runner and separation, I'm watching Brandon Ayuk just be simply just better than the other receivers that we have. And it's, I just don't see where Deebo Samuel separates himself for Brock Purdy the way that Brandon Ayuk does. And it's clear to me that, I don't know, man. To me, it's just one of those things where I just don't see how you can discount what Brandon Ayuk does, not only just on the field, but in terms of staying healthy too. Deebo's worked his ass off. I don't want to take anything away from him, but Brandon Ayuk stays on the field consistently more than Deebo Samuel does. Deebo Samuel gets injured. I don't know, man. I just think that from the pure statistical wide receiver one position, which is what the 49ers need the most in terms of a weapon, right? They got a great tight end. They got a great gadget guy in CMC who is better at the gadget thing than Deebo Samuel is and has been better at it for his entire career. What Deebo to me feels like a little bit of the frosting on the cake, right? But he's not the cake. And you can have all the frosting you want, but no one's going to eat a plate full of frosting. If you got a good enough cake, you don't need the frosting. You can't eat no frosting without the cake, though.
My kids always ask for the corner pieces because there's more frosting. That's all I'm saying.
But they don't want just the frosting, though. Too much frosting make your tummy hurt, brother.
Yeah, but kids got to learn the hard way. I'm I said.
And we don't want the 49ers to learn the hard way by only eating the frosting.
Right. No, and like I said, I'm with you. I do think that Brandon Ayuk is the better overall receiver. Let me be very clear. Do we know
what the game splits are? Because I feel like Brandon Ayuk was a much more desired target of Brock Purdy than Deebo Samuel was last year.
I am willing to bet it was almost 2-1 in favor of Deebo. I am almost willing to bet that Deebo got 2-1 touches to Brandon Ayuk last year. I am not kidding.
Since Brock Purdy took over?
Yep.
Oh, we gotta find the numbers on that.
I mean, even if that's not how it was last year, just the preseason, Deebo had almost a whole drive by himself where Ayuk only had one pass, like on that same drive. So all I'm saying is, until we see different, Deebo is more valuable to this roster right now. And you guys posted the comment where it was, I believe it was Terradome that says, "I hate Deebo," right? I don't hate him, but it's fine. I'm okay with that narrative for the sake of this argument. Yeah, there it is right there, right? I hate Deebo, I hate Kittle, I hate Purdy.
You love all the mids.
Right. I love mid guys, right? Like, and I guess now Brandon Ayuk is mid, right? But what I'm saying is, as far as what's going to make this team better with the quarterback that we currently have following this injury, Deebo is more valuable. And I'm saying that if I had to keep one of them based off of what I see right now, it's got to be Deebo.
So, real quick.
Wait, but Brandon Ayuk had 400 more yards and 6 more touchdowns than Deebo Samuel last year.
He sure did.
He had a horrible year. Deebo had a horrible year.
Right, so I don't understand. I'm puzzled by the argument because no metric you can show me tells me that Deebo Samuel is more valuable to Brock Purdy than Brandon Ayuk is. Because all the stuff that Deebo can do, Brandon Ayuk can do, except for like the wide back shit, which you don't need him to do because CMC is there.
Okay, how about this?
All I know is his favorite target was probably George Kittle because George Kittle had like 9 touchdowns after Brock Purdy started starting.
Deebo had a total of 98 touches last year. 98. I'm looking at it right now. If I look at Brandon Ayuk, and now I don't have the splits for when it was,
Brandon Ayuk had 80.
It was 78
catches
receptions and I think 2. Yeah.
2
so
rushes.
I mean, Deebo wins.
Deebo wins in touches, but not production.
But touches are what's going to make someone more comfortable. I'm not saying that. I don't want to argue it. I don't want to argue it. It's fine.
No, it's fine. I'm just trying to see where you're coming from because that doesn't make sense to me.
But where I'm coming from is that Deebo was more of a weapon with Purdy and going forward than what Ayuk was throughout the duration of the year. That's all I'm saying. If that makes any sense.
But which one is going to be the more effective weapon down in and down out? That's where I'm coming from.
Right. And right now it's got Debo had the most impressive 4-yard loss any of us have ever seen. We saw the still shot where he was like 8 yards, 9 yards behind the line of scrimmage. There was 4 guys closing in on him, 3 more closing in on him after that. He ducked underneath them. He ran out to the right side, and it ended up being like a 3 or 4 yard loss. But it was one guy that made the tackle. If Debo had got past him, it'd have been green grass. And like Ayuk's not doing that for Purdy right now. That's all I'm saying.
All right, we can leave this here because I think we can debate this for the next hour. There's 2 things I want to say. One, I saw a clip of 2021 Debo highlights, and I don't know if you guys remember this sketch from old Family Guy, like early 2000s Family Guy. If you guys ever watched that, but the greased up deaf guy. I don't know if you remember the greased up deaf guy. That's what it was like watching Deebo Samuel run through these defenders, and they're just slipping off of him trying to tackle him. You can't catch me, sorry. That's the greased up deaf guy. That's exactly what he sounded like.
He did the voice.
Second, I've seen you comment, Luis, this comment a couple times in here. When do we fire Kyle this season if the season does not go good? He could go 0-17 and he will still be here next year.
I mean, I don't know if he could go 0-17, but he's not getting fired.
I don't think they would fire him. I'm sure Jed would be willing to give him the benefit of the doubt that he had the worst luck, or I don't know.
John Lynch will take the fall before Kyle does.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to get fired. If this went horribly wrong, Nick Bosa doesn't get an extension, misses half the season, Brock Purdy looks like garbage, and Trey Lance somehow passes Cooper Rush and Dak Prescott and becomes a superstar in Dallas, then maybe that's the perfect recipe on top of losing a shit ton of games for Kyle. But even then, I think it's very, very difficult to see it happening.
It's like, when do we fire Kyle? We don't do shit. I mean, let's be real, dude. Kyle's sticking around. It's one of the things that frustrates me the most about 49ers fans, especially ones like me that grew up and were around for all the winning. It's so much entitlement. It's so much entitlement that they just want to throw away good head coaches on a whim because things didn't go the way they wanted to with a quarterback that they thought so little of that they traded him to their worst rival. Like, y'all got to get over the Trey Lance shit. It's done and over with. It's done. It's done. They got their first round pick this year, and if Brock Purdy is anything like they think he is, it's done, man. The team voted him. The players on the team voted Brock Purdy as a captain. That should tell you all you need to know about what they think about Brock Purdy. That's a huge. I mean, all the vets on the team.
Yeah.
CMC didn't get it. Nick Bosa didn't get it. They voted Brock Purdy. That should tell. And the way that Kyle explained it was he asked everybody to rank 1 through 4 who should be a captain. He took the top 6 vote getters, and then those were the captains. And so Brock Purdy was in that top 6 somewhere. Yeah. That should tell you what they think of Brock Purdy. And people are like, oh, well, that's just a popularity contest. Well, listen, they ain't voting no scrubs up there. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah. They ain't voting no scrubs. Trey Lance was never Trey Lansing wasn't a captain in his year starting. You know what I mean? So You guys got to get over that, man. Listen, I wish Trey Lance would have worked out. I'm very disappointed that it didn't work out. But to just be so mad about it that you're like, screw Kyle, I want him gone, when he's made 3 NFC championships out of the last 4 years. Coaches like that don't grow on trees. And y'all have forgotten about Mike Nolan and Mike Singletary and Chip Kelly and Jim Tomsula. Jim Tomsula, the dude who ripped a fart at a news conference and then pretended like nothing happened. That guy.
I don't remember that.
That's who you could get. Oh, look it up on YouTube. It's ridiculous.
Did he say he doesn't remember that?
I don't remember that. No.
What? It took over headlines for like a week, dude. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. I remember.
But I'm just saying, it's just.
Oh, sorry.
You just don't want to. You can't just throw away a good coach. That you always want to. I mean, what has he done wrong? And by the way, the Trey Lance thing, fine, but like this Nick Bosa thing, how is that in any way on Kyle? I didn't know that Kyle was doing player contracts. When does Kyle do player contracts?
I don't think that was what the comment was that sparked all this. It was, at what point do we start looking at Kyle?
We know why. We know why people are wondering at what point Kyle gets fired, and it's not for the on-field product. It's for specifically Trey Lance and for Nick Bosa. And y'all got to stop crying about Trey Lance. I wish he would have worked out too, but he didn't. I'm not saying you, Mike. I'm saying
no,
the people
I know.
that are.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I just saw Jim Tomsula fart. That's priceless. I never seen that before.
I can't believe you never saw that. That thing like took over headlines. Like,
to be honest with you, that was such a dark time in my life. It probably just faded away, and I didn't even think about anything.
Hey, you probably
related.
felt just as shitty as that fart.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Stephen Fox asked the question: Kittle healthy to play week 1? Kyle came out and said that he was limited in practice this week, so I don't know. He didn't play last year until like week 3, so
it's ridiculous how many starts of the season this dude has missed. You brought up the captains, which is actually next on our topic here. Let me pull them up. The 2023-2024 49ers captains are Trent Williams, Eric Armstead, Fred Warner, George Kittle, Brock Purdy, and Deebo Samuel. You talked about Purdy already, Matt, but can we just take a second? And I tweeted this out. Can we just take a second to really understand like the magnitude of Purdy being a captain? This dude was the last pick in the draft a year ago, 3rd on the depth chart, like only saw the field because 2 people in front of him got hurt, got his opportunity, ran with it, made the world of it. And now a year later, on what many really, really professional and analysts that are good at their job are saying is the best roster in football, is voted a captain. Like it really goes back to what we saw from Trent and Fred and Deebo when Purdy first got in before that Tampa game, and they were like, yo, when he got in the huddle, like he was commanding shit. He was correcting players. There was a noticeable difference in how he just took command of the offense. And I think that really just proves that Purdy is respected in this locker room. Not to say anybody else wasn't by any contrast, but it speaks a lot to him because, like Matt said, it was up to the players. Mike, what are your thoughts on these captains? If you have any thoughts.
No, I still think it's a little premature for Brock Purdy, only because I haven't seen much of the leader aspect from him. I was actually happy to see that Nick Bosa was not voted a captain. I think Nick Bosa is a guy that just goes out there and does his job. He's not much of a coach him up on the sideline or talk to people during the games or anything like that. We've seen the mic'd ups, and it's like, I just want to hit the quarterback. He literally said that. Like, that was his mic'd up segment, right? Like, I just want to get a sack on the quarterback, man. And Eric Armstead's like, yeah, it's not as easy as, No, he said he was talking to Eric Armstead. He's like, and Eric's like, go ahead and go get one. He's like, it's just not as easy as it looks, I can't. Right? Like, but that's the extent of it. To me, a captain is someone that's going to go out there and rally the troops. I think if you ask me, Trent Williams earned it this year based off of what we saw in the NFC Championship game. When the Niners were getting dog walked and everybody knew that it was over already, right? He's the one throwing Eagles players to the ground when they're giving the extracurricular activities and, in between the whistles and in between the snaps and everything. He's the one like, no, we're not going to get just bullied out here. We understand that you guys have us. We're going to lose this game. We don't have a quarterback, right? This game is over. However, y'all aren't going to come out here and just bitch us around on this field, right? I think that's when he earned that. George Kittle, his resume stands for what it is. His energy that he brings to the team, Fred Warner, all of that, the energy is infectious out there and everything, right? I completely understand that, right? Brock Purdy, I just haven't seen the leadership from the quarterback position that I would like to see it. And that's not to say that he can't get there or anything. And maybe, the team knew like, hey, we got to show some faith in this guy. They want to pump this guy up. You are no longer Mr. Irrelevant. You are the number 1 quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. And here we go. Like, just putting words in my mouth. I see the comment. It's fine. Again, I'm okay with the narratives. It's fine. I hate winners and all that stuff.
This dude has it out for you every show.
And it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. I get subliminals on his show and everything too. It's not a big deal to me. Like, it's fine. I know where I stand. I have never said that I don't like Brock Purdy. I have maintained that I just wanted to see other people with the full cast of players and all that, and that's okay with me. I just don't know that I've seen Brock Purdy in the leader role. And Wayne and I have a daily show that we do now called No Harm, No Foul, and this was a big debate during the show today, where it was, I think Brock Purdy is a dog, right? He's got that spark. He's got that fight in him. He doesn't go away easily. I gave him all of his props in that aspect, but it was leader or dog, and I just don't have Brock Purdy as a leader yet. I see Brock Purdy as a very, very big, for lack of a better term, a puppet. He does exactly what Kyle says for him to do, and that's where he makes his bread and butter. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's clearly exactly what Kyle wants. So I'm not opposed to that in any sense of it. I want to be clear with what I'm saying in case people are still going to misconstrue, and I'm sure they will. But Brock Purdy is exactly what Kyle tells him to be. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's all. So, that's it. That's all I have. I see him as a dog. I can see his play kind of inspiring people, that never quit attitude and going out there after the shoulder injury and still trying to make a throw and you couldn't do it and everything. But why did he have to go back out there in the NFC Championship game after he said, hey, my arm doesn't work? Well, Kyle's like, yeah, well, we don't have a choice. Get back out there. Oh, okay, here I go. He could have made it a lot worse. He could have really done significant damage, right? Where I think that, hey, look, man, like, there's nothing I can do. Use your emergency quarterback so that my recovery time is a little bit faster, a little bit quicker or whatever. So I like him as being listed as a dog. I don't necessarily like him being listed as a leader just yet. I just don't see it. I saw after every Jimmy Garoppolo drive, Trey Lance was the first guy there talking to him and saying, hey, what'd you see? What'd we do? Blah, 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 blah. When it was time for Purdy to go out there, same exact thing, right? Trey Lance was the first guy going over there. And I'm not saying that Trey Lance was even the leader, but what I'm saying is I didn't see that from Brock Purdy going forward. I saw Brock Purdy in the book, in the plays, and then, okay, time for me to get back out there on the field. So to me, that there's a difference between a leader and a dog. He's got dog in him. He's got that fight. You can back him into a corner. He's gonna come out biting, snapping, snarling, and everything in between. But that doesn't make you a leader. There's a difference between a leader and a dog. I do think that he's a dog. I do. I think he's physical. I think he has no quit attitude. I just don't see the leadership in him yet. Doesn't mean he won't get there. Doesn't mean he can't be that. I just haven't seen it. That's all.
Mike,
I don't know, man.
Sorry,
I've heard enough stories from the players that tell me that, I mean, he was voted a captain. The players are telling you he's a leader, right? Kyle, you should check out the story about how he got up in Trent Williams' face and told him what Trent Williams needed to do. Another story about how Brock Purdy called a timeout and nobody's supposed to call timeouts but Kyle Shanahan, but Brock Purdy felt comfortable enough to do it. Like, he goes out there and does his job. But you can't show me an NFL starting quarterback outside of the preseason that sits there and is trying to pump up a backup quarterback and shit rather than looking at the little Microsoft Surface tab that they all have looking at the last play. That just doesn't happen because they're talking with their OC trying to get back out there. It ain't time to pat the second stringer's butt with your hand or trying to pump him up or whatever. That's not the leadership that they're looking for. The dude is out there balling out. The players respond to him. The players are telling you this dude came in from day one and was telling us where we needed to be, where we needed to go. And he was a rookie and it didn't bother him that he was a rookie. He just knew what he did. And the players went with it despite the fact that he was a rookie. Because if you can talk the talk and walk the walk, that's what's up. And the players are telling you, again, he was voted a captain by the players. That should tell you all you need to know about him being a leader. And why does leadership need to be in one way or another? Fred Warner's a leader, but Fred Warner ain't out there pumping everybody up. Fred Warner leads by example.
What?
Who does Fred Warner pump up?
The entire defense. Are you serious? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to West Side myself.
I'm going to disagree with him. I think he pumps everybody up. Nick Bosa, I think, doesn't, and he was a leader. Exactly. He was a captain. He does it more by example. There's two different types of leaders: by your words, by your actions. And I think Purdy is one that we've seen by his actions. Let me amend.
Fred Warner in the last year and a half has pumped people up, but he didn't when he was early on.
And I think he's even talked about that. Leader. Yeah, that it was difficult for him to get more vocal.
In the 2019 season, he wasn't pumping anybody up, but it was Quan Alexander and other people. But Quan Alexander would be the first person to tell you that Fred Warner was the leader by example, and you got to find your footing in that way. It sounds like Purdy with the players has already found his footing, but again, if you're the quarterback, you got stuff to do. Like, it's different being on one side of the ball or the other. You can pump somebody up, whatever. But if you're a quarterback, you got to get back out there. You got to know your reads. You got to direct the entire thing, man. You got to lead by example. Who is Tom Brady pumping up? Tom Brady's shitting on dudes who do.
Are you serious?
The wrong thing.
Tom Brady talks to the offensive linemen that make mistakes. He talks to the wide receivers that ran the wrong route. He talks to the running backs that didn't pick up a blitz. Like I've never
not always in the nicest way.
Of that, Matt.
I'm telling you right now that Brock Purdy's doing that stuff.
I swear to God, I don't want to sound anti-Purdy, so I'm gonna shut up. But I'm just saying that I haven't seen leadership from Brock Purdy yet. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's not a leader. I'm not saying that he can't.
But why does he have to show you that he's a leader? Why can't you take the team's word for it? Why do you have to be led to the water to know that it's there?
Because the
you're
topic
special?
is asking because the topic is asking my opinion. My opinion is I haven't seen him do it. I've seen other quarterbacks do it on this team. I've seen Jimmy Garoppolo be more of a leader than what I saw from Brock Purdy. That's all. But it's not a knock on him. I'm just saying that I haven't seen it yet. And as Mr. Irrelevant, I don't expect you to be out there barking on wide receivers. You ran the wrong fucking route. Get your ass in the right place. I don't expect Mr. Irrelevant to be saying that to people because he's not sure if his future is secure. I completely understand.
Did bark at people. He did.
Who?
You got
who? Tell me a receiver that he barked at for running the wrong route.
Dude. There's a story about him telling people to stop fucking around in the huddle and get to the line of scrimmage because they had to run a play.
His first start, yeah.
First start. Kyle Juszczyk said he told everybody in the huddle to shut up because everybody was dicking around.
And that's leadership quality. Boom. I'll shut up. Cool.
I'm just saying. It ain't about making you shut up. That's so passive aggressive.
It's not. I'm trying to West Side myself. I told you. I'm trying to keep myself restrained.
That's all. Story here from December of 2022. Let me make sure the screen's sharing it correctly. Brock Purdy impresses 49ers teammates with veteran-like command in the huddle. This is from 2022, December. Purdy entered Sunday's 49ers Dolphins game under center in place of an injured Jimmy Garoppolo. He wasted no time in taking command of the offense. Yada, yada, yada. Purdy's teammates believed he has the poison command of a signal caller. Shit.
Just Trent Williams told me of Brock Purdy. You would think he's been in the league 15 years. If you're talking, he'll say, shut your ass up. He ain't no timid rookie feeling his way around. He'll get on your ass. You would think he's like Peyton Manning or something. But nah, he's no leader. He's just a dog.
So I think that getting back to the Debo versus Brandon, and if they have to choose, this just stresses the point that the 49ers need to get this shit done this year. Because regardless of what happens, this team's not going to be together next year. Whether it's just between these two receivers, maybe there's more pieces. But the core, this might be the last year the 49ers have this core together. Mike, before we went on, you said the restructures in Trent Williams and George Kittle's contracts make it appear to you like they're going to be here for life, for the rest of their career. But these other players maybe not be the same thing. So I think they definitely need to get it done this year.
Now they're coming for me in the comments now.
They're coming for both of you guys. But
I am on full screen.
Bro, this is just a friendly banter. Y'all, all right. Y'all got to calm down, man.
So I want to emphasize to people that we want to make sure that we represent all sides of the arguments. There are people who completely disagree with what I'm saying, and Matt's taking that approach. I am taking my approach, and we're going to represent both sides of what the fan base thinks. There are going to be people that say Brock Purdy has earned it as a captain. Brock Purdy has gone out there and done it, and we pulled up the Trent Williams tweet as evidence of that. So don't come from my guy like that.
It's just it's devil's advocate, man. I mean, if you want us to sit here and pat each other on the back all day, we can. But at the end of the day, when we hop off here and y'all are like fighting over about like what we were talking about or whatever, we're telling each other good fucking show. Hope your life is going great. How are your kids? Blah 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 blah. This is just football talk, guys. It's not that serious.
Yeah. Right.
So with that said, let's get into this season preview. We all know this week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, we got Nick Bosa. George Kittle is looking like he's going to play. He's practicing. He returned to practice today. There was a report that came out that Ray McLeod should be able to take part in Sunday's game against the Steelers, which is crazy because it was like an 8-week timeline a couple of weeks ago, but apparently his bones healed like crazy fast. What are your guys's? I don't know. How do you guys want to do this preview? Do you want to go quickly game by game, or maybe the most important game out of each quarter? How are you guys looking to handle this?
I I mean, that's up to you guys. I'm still looking at these little comments in the chat.
Matt wants to blast people, man. But
I never said Tom Brady was a leader. I said he's not a rah-rah guy, which he's not. Dude has a case of the red ass. Dude is the most psycho fucking competitor. Like, he's just short of Michael Jordan because he didn't punch nobody on the team.
I have never heard anyone say that Tom Brady is not a leader on this broadcast or any other broadcast.
No.
I've never heard it.
I never said he wasn't a leader. I said he wasn't like a rah-rah guy. But anyway,
Brady does get hype when things start going their way and when the drives start working out.
I've seen him throw tablets on the ground and get kind of crazy.
Yeah.
If you want to do, go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say I like that, but Brock Purdy hasn't been in that situation. Brock Purdy hasn't been down 3 scores in any game. Brock Purdy hasn't been down 2 scores in any game he's ever played. I would like to see more, and that's why I reserve the right to change my mind on it. Right, like, and it's not a knock on him.
I'm with you on that.
If the team is good enough to never be down 2 scores, then fuck you, Mike. You're not going to get to see it, and I respect that completely. That doesn't mean he's not a leader. All I'm saying is I just haven't seen him walking up and down the sidelines like I've seen some veteran quarterbacks do, talking to the different position groups on the offensive side of the ball. That's all I was pointing out. That's it. It's not that
he says he was down 10 against the Raiders.
Okay,
they did come back and win that game.
And then the very next drive, so the Raiders go down, they score, they kick a field goal, and they're up 10, and then we come back and we score a touchdown. Then he's down 3. It doesn't really count as trailing by 10 if they did it on one drive and then we came back.
I know what you mean, though.
That's all.
I'm with you on that. I want to see what he does not when he's not in the. And we all know that, right?
I don't want to see
one of my critiques.
I don't want it to be trailing.
No, I don't want it either. But to know what he really is, I think you need to see that, because one of the things that we knew about Jimmy Garoppolo was that he was like an ultimate front runner. But if you had to have him help you come from behind, that it was a tall task to ask of him. So we do need to see that. That's for sure. But that to me is less leadership, and that's more.
Poise.
That's more like gamesmanship. Like what are you made out of? Are you going to fold under pressure? Which I guess you could like kind of look at it as leadership, but to me that's more like play related. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because at the same time too, like we've seen games where the infamous Kansas City versus Indianapolis playoff game where Alex Smith was damn near perfect and they lost that game. Like, I don't think that reflects on Alex Smith's leadership or anything like that. That's just bad defense. So we'll see how it works out. As for the season preview thing, we can work it out in any which way you guys want to do. We could do like week by week real quick. We could just kind of speculate on what they're going to do.
Let's do week by week and then emphasize the important games in whatever stretches that we come across. Right. How's that?
Yeah, so let's start with this week. We're going to do a more official preview show later on in the week, guys.
Yep.
So we're just going to quickly go through it. We know it's late. Thank you for sticking with us. All right. This week, week 1, Sunday in Pittsburgh. I don't know if it's still called Heinz Field. I'm going to call it Heinz Field.
It's not. It's something else.
Yeah, it's some dumb name, but it's Heinz Field to me. Very, very difficult beginning to the season, but like I was saying, Nick Bosa's back. George Kittle's looking to play. Ray McLeod could possibly play. All of these storylines that were going into the 49ers offseason that needed to be answered have been answered. Brock Purdy returned healthy. Nick Bosa extended. All of this shit can be put to bed, and the 49ers can focus on the Pittsburgh Steelers. What are your main, things you're looking for, things you're worried about from this game? Mike, you can go first.
With this game, I do want to see the usage of Nick Bosa. I know that we started the show with him, so let's keep it going here. I don't want to see him used as a situational guy. I don't want to diminish the defensive player of the year and say, oh, well, he hasn't been with the team practicing, so let's go out here and just use him as a pass rusher on passing downs only, right? He is phenomenal against the run. I know that everyone focuses on the sack numbers over the last couple of seasons. However, the tackles for loss are up there. The pressures and all that are up there as well. He accounts for something like 40% of the 49ers pressures. So in sacks, I want to see him out there the whole time. His job is going to be one of two things: set the edge or pursue the quarterback. And then the caveat that might be sprinkled in there is, are we going to stunt or not? Right? Nick Bosa is capable of handling that. He's been in the system long enough. It's not a whole brand new system that they're implementing or anything like that. I don't want to see him as a situational player. Use him to his full extent and to his full abilities. That way we can go out there and put the best 11 on the field at all times. I don't want to see any substitutions out there if we don't have to, for Nick Bosa in particular. So that is going to be my first focus on the defensive side of the ball. They have some really good wide receivers. And regardless of what you think about the 49ers secondary, it starts up front. If you can make Kenny Pickett, if you can make him uncomfortable back there and move him off of his marks and everything, get him to throw some passes off platform and off his settings and everything like that, then you can really reap the benefits of it with this secondary. I think we have an advantageous secondary, especially if Womack gets out there instead of Oliver. We have guys that will make plays on the ball. I really like in this game Womack and Diamador Lenore. I think those guys will make plays, and even Talanoa Hufanga, who was not voted a team captain where a lot of people thought he would be. I think that he's going to be. I think those guys are going to be key for this defense in this game.
Hey, listen, I just haven't seen the leadership qualities from Talanoa Hufanga yet.
Neither have I. I'm with you. No, but see, I don't know if you were saying that to make fun of me or not. Oh, okay. But when Fred Warner was asked about Talanoa Hufanga being a leader at the beginning,
that press conference where he was like,
exactly. He said everything except the word no. Oh, well, that comes naturally and it comes with time and all that.
Yeah.
And when he gets there, we'll acknowledge him as such. But right now, we're just going out there to play football, right? That was the most polite no I've ever heard in my entire life.
For sure. In terms of what I'm looking for, I do think, again, I've said this, I think there's a difference between, just being in general great shape, which I think Bosa is going to come in looking really, really good, and then being in football shape. So I do expect him to be more kind of in pass rush situations. I would expect Cleveland Farrell to be the one that kind of rotates in and out with him on maybe potentially obvious running downs or, potential running downs. But that's the area that I'm more interested in than what Nick Bosa is going to do. I want to see how Javon Hargrave and Eric Armstead contain the run. Najee Harris had a little bit of a down year, but he's still a very talented running back. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers like run to set up the pass. And if the Pittsburgh Steelers can get rolling downhill north to south style running, the 49ers defense is going to have a long day. I would like to see them stop the guys up front. In terms of offensively for the 49ers, I also think the running back position is going to be very important. You don't want to overexpose Christian McCaffrey super early in the season, but at the same time, what are you looking at behind him? Can Elijah Mitchell play? If he does play, does he make it out of the game healthy? If he doesn't, who's going to be the next guy up? Is it Jordan Mason or is it going to be TDP? These are all very important questions because, again, with Brock Purdy, there's no real limitations. They still have him on, a throw count. I think they want him to throw 700 times a week or something like that, which that's a lot of throws. But be that as it may, you don't want to overexpose Brock Purdy because you have a lot of shuffle on the offensive line. If you can keep kind of spoon feeding Brock Purdy with this passing game, try to get him back in game situations. It was a shock to me that he didn't play more in the preseason. I thought coming off of a surgery, you'd want to see what he does out there. But if you can take pressure off of him where he doesn't have to worry about taking a ton of hits, you don't want him taking hits early in the season, that's going to be very important. So what are the running backs going to do to try to help out the quarterback position? Beyond that, they got to get out of this week healthy. Week 1, week 2 of the last, couple of seasons where the 49ers have had a lot of injuries, it's usually been in week 1 or week 2. Once they get past that, they don't seem to have as many. And I think that's a byproduct of, we talk all the time, is it strength and conditioning? Is it this or that? Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers are known for being one of the less contact heavy teams in practice and in training camp. And like I said, building up those calluses is very important. And I've seen that in many seasons, week 1, week 2 are where the 49ers have this like glut of injuries. And then beyond that, it's more minor injuries or it's injuries where the players miss a play or two or miss a quarter and come back and play. The major injuries seem to happen at the beginning of the season. And I think that's league wide, but they got to get out of this game healthy. So knock on wood, everybody, perform a little dance if you have to, rub a rosary bead, kiss babies, pick a 4-leaf clover and wish on it. I don't know. But if they can get out of the first week healthy, that's going to be a plus for them.
Yeah. This game is going to come down to, in my opinion, both young quarterbacks. Kenny Pickett has looked really good for the Steelers this preseason. I think every drive he had, they scored a touchdown. I think he had like 5 or 6 touchdowns this preseason. George Pickens is a menace at receiver. Deontay Johnson's solid. Najee Harris looks good. And Jalen Warren, their, I think, rookie back, might look even better. Like, scary as this is, I think he's a better running back. So the 49ers are going to have their hands full. This isn't the same old, 8-8, 8-9, 9-8 Steelers. I guess I should have said 8-9 because that hasn't happened. 9-8 Steelers, but they're totally different in my opinion. They look like a legitimate team. This is not going to be an easy game. They're not going to roll over. It's not going to be, a 21-3 win in my opinion. This is going to be a tough game and a fist fight right out the gates. And I thought it was interesting when I think Mike Tomlin was asked, why do you play your starter so much in the preseason? He's like, when you go for a fight, you don't just show up in the ring. You spar. You have sparring matches beforehand. I kind of wish we saw a little more of that from the 49ers this preseason, but we didn't. So it's all going to happen Sunday at 10 a.m. And again, in my opinion, it comes down to Kenny Pickett, Brock Purdy, and which quarterback makes the least mistakes, just like we saw in the divisional round against the quarterback against the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, I think he had two interceptions. Brock Purdy had none. Guess which team won? So in my opinion, it comes down to these quarterbacks.
When you're looking at the quarterback position and things like that, I completely agree with everything both of you guys said. I would really like to emphasize that when Brock Purdy was on the field, it was a scoring drive every time. I understand that we had JP Mason, not Christian McCaffrey, fumble the ball right there on the goal line. But if it weren't for that, the Niners would have been completely fine and flawless in their execution with Brock Purdy. Now that was scripted plays, 2-minute drive type plays, right? I think that we'll have 2 or 3 2-minute drives in this game. We'll score on all of them. I think that the 49ers will come out with the scripted plays. We'll score on that also. The first 30 something plays, Kyle does a little bit more than the average team with the 15, right? I think we'll score on those drives. And that right there, if you just account for those, we're talking 28 points already. You know what I'm saying? So I have all the faith in the world in the 49ers going forward, especially knowing that the defense is going to be fully intact. So I like the Niners odds.
Let's save like the final score predictions for the preview show.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. All right. All right. So out of the next 4 games, let's pick one and we'll move it that way. Move along that way. So
I think we could briefly touch like win-loss on something. You know what I mean?
On each game?
Yeah.
All right. So week 2 is at the Rams.
Rams suck. Cooper Kupp's out. That's a win.
Week 3, Thursday night game at home versus the Giants. This is a good game. One, I think the 49ers win, but it's going to be tough. This is a tough one. Giants acquired Darren Waller. I'm not sold on Daniel Jones, but hey, Daboll's making him look
them running quarterbacks in the 49ers, though, dude.
That's true. Home opener, Thursday night. I think the 49ers get this one done. This is going to be a good game. A possible playoff preview if the Giants can repeat. Go ahead, Mike.
We'll see that run defense tested, too, because Saquon Barkley's a beast.
He's a beast, but he's not much of a scat back. And when the Niners face those heads-up guys like that, the defensive line really, really shows up. You don't forget, we have Hargrave, we have Armstead now.
I know. I want to see what they do. My main concern is that if you have Daniel Jones running RPO, right, the mesh point between the quarterback and the running back is something the 49ers are really going to have to look out for. Because say what you will about Daniel Jones as a thrower of the football, as a runner of the football, he's actually really good. So if you're trying to account for both, they could definitely be in trouble, and it could stretch that defensive line thin.
And we saw that happen when we played the freaking Falcons, right? Like Marcus Mariota didn't go crazy, but it felt like he was going crazy, right? With 55, 56 rushing yards, something like that. But it was enough to keep the chains moving when they needed it and all that. And the Niners had everybody locked down in the secondary, but the ability to scramble for a quarterback. And I think that right now Daniel Jones is more comfortable running the ball than Marcus Mariota was. So that will be something that we have to pay attention to. And as much as I would love to say that, it's a Thursday night game and the Giants have to travel, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't know their schedule off the top of my head, I think when I look this up, they play the Cardinals at home in Arizona. So they're not going to be doing a lot of traveling. We don't even really benefit much from it being a short week in our house. The benefit to us is that we're playing LA. It's an hour flight, if that. And then we get to go back home, and the Giants have to come from Arizona. Yeah. I think they're coming from Arizona.
You're right. Yeah,
it is. Okay, they're coming from Arizona to come and play us. They're gonna stay west. So we kind of lose the benefit of a Thursday night game that most teams get. But I still think that we'll be.
Hopefully, they'll be pumped up though that it's the home opener.
Exactly. Yeah, I still think that we.
And aren't they wearing the 94 throwbacks for that one?
I haven't seen jersey news, so I don't know.
They were. They put out a jersey schedule. I think they were wearing the. Let's see, 49ers. See if I can find it real quick.
I just had it up too, but I think I closed it out.
So the 49ers are wearing. Yeah, red throwback jerseys when they host the Giants in week 3.
And then also
that's gonna be on
Day.
Amazon Prime Video, like all Thursday night games, which I actually like the Amazon Prime. For whatever reason, they use like the higher def, like higher resolution cameras, and I think it looks better. But that's just me. Yeah, that's good. I'm hoping that because it's again the cachet of wearing the red throwbacks, it's home opener. I'm hoping they come out pumped up. So, but I do hear what you're saying. It's not a lot of travel time, but that'll be I think the first true test of the 49ers. I don't know. I'm not sold on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that'll be the first true test. The Giants did make the playoffs last year. They're a pretty good team.
All right. That's interesting. I think the real test comes 2 weeks later, but we'll get to that.
Well, I'm saying it's the first playoff team. I don't know. I think that's a test given all the personnel in the matchup. I think the Giants are going to be a tougher test than the team you're talking about, to be honest, in my opinion.
Wow. Let's get there.
So, week 4.
Win. Arizona Cardinals are going for the number 1 pick, and Caleb Williams would probably opt to stay in school rather than go there.
Week 5 is a Sunday night game at home against the Cowboys. Divisional round rematch. This is going to be a very good game. One I still think the 49ers win. Mike, I think you had a loss, if I remember correctly, when we previewed this one.
I think I have this as a loss. I had this as a loss before the Trey Lance trade. Now that Trey Lance is there spilling all the beans and telling people the playbook. I think those kind of things factor in. I did have it as a loss. I'm going to stick with it just because I could easily go through this and say the Niners are going to win them all, right? But I have to find losses somewhere, and I think this one might be a setup for disappointment. The Niners will be 4-1 after this game. And that's a great record after the first 5 games, by the way.
And I also agree that the 49ers will be 4-1 after this game, but I think they actually lose that Giants game. I actually think that the Cowboys have to beat the 49ers before I care about the Cowboys. And they just, even though the 19-12 game was relatively close, that defense just gives Dak Prescott fits. And you got Bernard Pollard coming back off of a injury. We don't know how he's going to look, right? I'm not scared of Deuce Vaughn. He's like 3'3". CeeDee Lamb, all right, maybe. But if you're not effectively running the football, and I know they paid their right tackle, but Tyron Smith, is he going to do anything, or is he going to get injured again? That dominant, what we thought 5, 6, 7 years ago, that dominant Cowboys offensive line just is not there anymore. The way that the 49ers offense runs, I think, does a lot to negate the disruption that Micah Parsons can be. And I think that when you get down to Trayvon Diggs on the outside, he gambles too much. And we've seen Trayvon Diggs get burned by this 49ers team over and over and over. Debo and Brandon Ayuk have both burned him. Jawan Jennings burned him 2 years ago. So to me, until the Cowboys can show that they can be a physical football team, which is why I give the Giants the edge against the 49ers, because say what you want about the New York Giants, you might not believe in Daniel Jones. That dude's a physical runner. Saquon Barkley, physical runner. They have physical players. Brian Daboll has them playing very physically. The Cowboys, to me, are still finesse. They're still finesse, and they don't like getting punched in the mouth. And until they show me that they can go and survive past round 1 with Mike Tyson, I don't believe in them. So I think this is a win for the 49ers, 4-1 after this.
All right.
The only thing that scares me about the Cowboys is Micah Parsons, and it's not because of him by himself, but it's how they use him. They will move him on both sides of the line. They'll have him off ball, on ball. They'll have him playing in space, 9 wide. Like they use him so strategically that I think that I think his second half will be better than his first half. I think they do a lot of assessment and make in-game adjustments.
But I think the 49ers did a good job of neutralizing him last year in the playoffs, though.
No, that's absolutely true, right? Yeah. But this is a different offensive line now, right? And so
sure, I think we got to give Kyle credit to account for that type of player, though.
Okay, that's fair.
All right, next on the road against the Cleveland Browns. I think this is a loss. I think this is kind of a weird game. They're not used to facing Cleveland. Maybe Deshaun Watson's rolling. Hopefully not rolling into any massage studios. I think he's going to play better this
season after having a full training camp to come back and actually play. I think that Deshaun Watson's going to actually be better than he was last year. I think this is a physical-ass defense. Myles Garrett, for as much as we talk about Micah Parsons, I think Myles Garrett is a load to handle. And then you got Nick Chubb, who is just – I mean, that dude is a bruiser. And then once you think you've gotten a handle on that, wait, they got Amari Cooper on the outside. And a very good tight end in David Njoku. So they have a lot of things that match up well with the 49ers, I think.
And not only that, we talked about the scrambling or running quarterbacks. They've got one also, right? I think by week 6, he settled in. I think a lot of people are thinking, oh, look at what he did last year. He's not going to work out there. Like he hadn't practiced in 2 years. Right. So what we saw from him is not really what Deshaun Watson is going to be. I think that this team looks much improved, especially by week 6 in a new year. I think they're going to be ready to play. We're coming off of, if not for the Monday night game, right, the shortest week possible coming into this. I think the Niners are going to be in for a rude awakening. I have us 4-2 at this point.
And then moving on.
Zach, did you have more thoughts on the game? Like, I want to let you get your thoughts in.
To the Cleveland? No, I think that
think that's lost. Yeah, I'm with Mike. I think, and Mike has the 49ers maybe losing the Cowboys. I have them winning, and I actually think that the hype that you go into with that rivalry game, right? All eyes are going to be on that, not only because it's prime time, but because of the Trey Lance stuff. Everybody's going to be talking the whole week. It's going to be such an emotionally amped up week. And then you're East Coast at 10 a.m. the next week, right? Or 1 p.m. Eastern game. I just think that it's going to be an emotional letdown, as well as a team that I feel matches up well with the 49ers.
All right. So then again, next week on the road, Monday Night Football in Minnesota against the Vikings. I think the 49ers win this one. I think they find a way to etch it out. Kirk Cousins, I don't think he's beaten the 49ers since Kyle Shanahan's been here. But I just think the 49ers, for some reason, play well against the Vikings, play well against Justin Jefferson. I don't think they've played him since he had this monster year. Played them 2 years ago. I just like the 49ers' chances. What do you guys think?
I'm with you there. I think for as much as Kyle Shanahan's been in love with Kirk Cousins, I mean, he probably knows how to game plan against Kirk Cousins to make him not look as good. I feel like people are underplaying the loss of Adam Thielen on this Minnesota team. I think that, for as great as Justin Jefferson is, I think that, Adam Thielen did a great job of working underneath. And I know that they replaced him, but then they've already also got rid of Dalvin Cook, who I think is a big loss. And we'll see what Madison can do as the primary, lead back. But again, once you got, you saw the Minnesota Vikings pay a lot of defensive players, pay a lot of this guy, that guy, this guy. And now you see that 1, 2, 3, 4 of these guys are leaving. I just think that overall as a squad, they got a little bit worse. And I think that the 49ers match up well with what the Minnesota Vikings like to do on offense. I think that this defense is actually going to be stifling. Kirk Cousins, not a mobile quarterback. Kirk Cousins is going to be sitting back there for our defensive linemen to go and hit. And I think that this is going to be one where, Minnesota might be, 4-2, 4-2 or something like that.
I don't even think that
3-3. They're not going to be like a terrible team, right? People will look at this as a game. Oh, maybe the 49ers win by a field goal. This is one where I think the 49ers comfortably win by 2 scores just because of the way that they match up with Minnesota. I don't think Minnesota wants to have anything to do with this 49ers team, particularly if what I'm thinking plays out and the 49ers have a letdown game against the Browns. this 49ers team, when they come out flat, they tend to respond the next week and beat the brakes off their next opponent. So I would expect that for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, the Buccaneers they play Minnesota at home week 1, right? And then they travel to Philadelphia on a short week for Thursday Night Football. I think they're 1-1 at that point. And then they're at home against the Chargers, but the Chargers are a good team. I think they start pretty well this year. So that makes them 1-2. Then they go to the Panthers, they're 2-2, but then they have the Chiefs, then they have the Bears, and then it's the Niners. I think
so
that
3-3.
Right. They're a 500 team at this point. They're coming from Chicago, not a lot of travel time, but they're going to be playing the Niners. And I think that Kirk Cousins, his prime time schedule and all that stuff doesn't really work out. They let go of a lot of talent. I think the Niners get this win.
Did you watch the quarterback documentary?
I did not.
Oh, dude.
Yes, I did. Wait, you're talking about the Netflix show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
He had that whole thing where it's like, people say I don't play well in primetime, but I got like 6 game balls that says that I do. And I'm like, dude, your record's like 6-18, brother.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah.
All right.
I will say this, though. I will say this. Dude, his wife looks like she probably makes the best chocolate chip cookies.
I don't even know what the fuck that means.
She looks like such a sweet lady, bro. That's what I'm saying. She looks like she can bake.
I still don't know what that means.
That's all right, bro. It's cool.
All right. Next week is going to be a hell of a game, arguably one of the best of the year. 49ers return home to face off against the Cincinnati Bengals. Possible Super Bowl preview. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here. This is going to be a hell of a game. I don't know if the 49ers can win this one.
49ers lose.
I think they lose this one. This is going to be a tough game. They barely beat the Bengals a couple of years ago. I know they're 2 different teams, but I think they lose this one. Mike?
Yeah, I think you guys are both wrong. I think I had this as a loss for the 49ers initially, but when I'm looking at it, right, I don't know the health status of Joe Burrow. I know that they're planning on trying to play him week 1.
He said he's good. He came out today and said he's good to go.
Right, but that means that there's lingering issues also, right? So he's not completely healthy, but he's healthy enough to go out there and earn the start. I respect that. But the Bengals and their schedule is it's not a pushover schedule. Now, I understand that people are going to say, oh, well, look at their wide receiving core and all that stuff. But what about their offensive line against our defensive line? This is where I think we really, really win this game. It's going to be in the trenches on both sides of the ball. I think our offensive line can control what their defensive line is going to bring. And I think our defensive line is going to thoroughly dominate what their offensive line is going to try to present. Again, you talk about a stationary quarterback in Joe Burrow. You don't have to worry about him running for 100+ yards on you. I think the Niners go out there, and I think they actually dominate heading into the bye week. I got the Niners still with just 2 losses through 8 weeks. And this is good. This is good for the Niners.
Okay. All right. Matt?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm good. I don't know if you have any thoughts on the Bengals game.
Oh, listen, I wouldn't necessarily look at the offensive line the same way as we looked at it last year. They added Cody Ford, they added Orlando Brown. It's not exactly the same unit. And when people will say, look at their wide receivers, I definitely think we have to look at their wide receivers because they roll deep at the wide receiver position, right? Again, one of the problem areas that I have with the 49ers is at the cornerback position. And you might want to put Mooney Ward on Jamar Chase. Cool, but now
no, you don't.
Right. No, so don't. who's gonna guard him?
I think you do a boundary versus field side and let the corners play their side of the field and play it to their strengths. I think that what you do by doing that, you force them to try to move their guys back and forth as opposed to us moving back and forth.
I don't think they're worried about moving their guys back and forth. T. Higgins is probably the best number 2 wide receiver in the NFL.
Okay.
I think that they have a lot of offensive weapons that we're not accounting for. And I think that corner is a big problem area for the 49ers because of the lack of depth that we have. We still don't even know who really the starting nickel was going to be. At some point they were talking maybe Diamondor Lenore was going to play the nickel, and then it's like, well, who's going to play outside then? So there's definitely problems there. So that one.
Yeah, but we'll have that figured out by the time we play them, though, Matt. Like the Niners are going to know. I mean, we're 8 weeks in. Right,
they're either going to be good enough or they're not. And if they're not, then who are they going to get that's going to fill that gap? That's a problem. And then we haven't even gotten down to their tight end. We haven't even gotten down to Tyler Boyd. We haven't even gotten down to anything else. I mean, and the fact of the matter is that Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I think people are going to say,
is he?
Oh yeah.
Oh God, get the fuck out of here. He is the benefactor. He is Brock Purdy 2.0. He is the benefactor of a really he is the benefactor of a really good supporting cast. He is the benefactor of a really he has not elevated the play of any of those guys out there. You got arguably wide receiver 1. It depends on what circle you're in, right? I believe that they believe they have the best wide receiver. I think they think I would take him over Justin Jefferson, right? But they have the best wide receiving core in the entire NFL. They were lucky enough to land Tyler Eifert out there as a tight end, and they have Mixon, right? But Mixon doesn't show up in the biggest games. He doesn't. I'm sorry. Like I think Joe Burrow is a very good and serviceable quarterback. He is a step above Jimmy Garoppolo. A step above Jimmy Garoppolo, but I have not
massive pause, bro. You're hella out of pocket.
I have not seen him elevate the play of the players on the team. I have seen the players on the team elevate his play.
Bro. And when I've never seen a case of Ebola virus in person, but it exists, brother.
Matt, let's make a bet right now.
Okay.
Let's make a jersey bet right now. The Niners win this game by 2 scores, and if I'm wrong, I'll buy you whatever jersey you want. The Niners win this game by 2 scores.
Agreed. I take that bet.
All right. Bet has been taken. Let's get to the next game.
Yep.
We're going to be wrapping up here after this.
I'm sorry. We're on the bye week. The next
49ers. Yeah. Bye week.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mike.
Bye week.
Travel to Jacksonville. 10 a.m. game.
Loss.
Back-to-back losses.
Back-to-back losses.
I think they win this one. I think I had us losing this game initially, but I think there's still Jacksonville's too young of a team, not ready for winning games that they should win type thing. And I think the 49ers get maybe a sneaky win here.
Nah, man. I think that comeback win against the Chargers was a galvanizing win, especially for Trevor Lawrence. And he might have lost the next week. But at the same time, those are the type of wins that catapult a team, right? Oh, this team is too young turns into, no, this team is right on time. And I think this is a tough one for the 49ers. Again, Trevor Lawrence, mobile quarterback. Again, they added a bunch of pieces. Dude, Calvin Ridley is on their team. I know everybody forgot about Calvin Ridley, but
you better hope he's not suspended by the time this game starts. Get the fuck out of here. Stop it. The Niners have no problems going up against a wide receiver 1. We do it all the time, and we absolutely neutralize those guys.
But it's
tell me the last time a wide receiver 1 went off against the 49ers. You can't. That's my point. That's my point.
I mean, I can't off the top of my head because I've had a few beers, bro. So
you and me both.
And
I was banking on that, by the way. I was banking on you not being able to figure anything out, right? But here's my point, though. Honestly, here's my point, though, right? I think by this point in the 49ers season, we understand exactly what our defensive line is. We understand exactly what our linebackers are going to do in the blitz packages that are going to be implemented by Steve Wilks. I think the Niners know how to manufacture pressure, and this is another stationary quarterback that we can take advantage of. It's not these guys that I think these losses are coming against. I understand that there's a lot of hype around the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think they win their division. So let me not make it sound like I am knocking these guys at all, but I don't think they're ready for 49ers brand of football. They're in a very weak division. They can go out there and easily go 6-0 in their division, right? I'm not taking anything away from them. But what I'm saying is that when you are up against the big dogs and this coaching staff of the San Francisco 49ers, they are not ready for what.
But and this is what I actually thought too. The 49ers actually allow a lot of yards to wide receiver 1. What they do is shut down wide receiver 2. They shut down the running game.
And that's my point. Now you become dependent on wide receiver 1. And even when you do that, teams don't win that game. You tell me the last time a team with a top 5 wide receiver against the 49ers actually beat the 49ers. You have to go back to the fucking Super Bowl with Tyreek Hill. That's the last time we lost the game against the top wide receiver in the NFL. We don't lose those games.
But you're talking about teams that don't have like really good wide receiver 2s. But like Jacksonville has a good roster. Christian Kirk, Isaiah Jones. They have Evan Ingram at the tight end position, right? They got good running backs. Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback who's mobile. Again, this is a type. It's not just one thing or another. It's adding a bunch of things together that compound the issues that the 49ers have. They're thin at the edge rusher position. They're thin at the cornerback position. Those things make a difference.
They're thin at linebacker. Are you talking about the Jaguars or us?
I'm talking about the 49ers are thin at the edge rushing position.
We're not thin at the edge rusher position. What are you talking about?
Yes, we are. Who's the best edge rusher outside of Nick Bosa? Edge rusher. I'm not saying defensive line. We're a deep-ass defensive line when you account for the defensive tackles. But outside of the defensive tackles,
Drake Jackson led the team in tip passes from the line of scrimmage, and he wasn't even a regular guy. He has a bigger role this year, and if he can't get to the quarterback, he puts his hands up and he knocks everything down.
All right,
everything.
All right, we got to move on because we got to get out of here pretty soon. It's getting pretty late. So
I'm sorry,
but I got the 49ers losing the Jaguars.
Got you. All right. Then they return home against the Bucks. I think we all win, Mike. Win.
We get the win.
And then I think this is a Thanksgiving Day game in Seattle.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to me.
This one's tough.
Happy birthday to you for them. Geno Smith sucks. Win.
I think it's a close win. I'm going to go close win, but not as convincing as last year in Seattle. Mike?
I think we lose this one. Only because of a short week. The Niners on Thanksgiving just doesn't bode well. I don't know the last time I saw these guys eating turkey. I'm gonna give it to them. And I don't have a logical reason. I just got to find a loss somewhere in there. I got the Niners with their third loss of the season.
All
right. And then after that is a hell of a game again in Philly against the Eagles.
Win. Fuck the Eagles. Win.
I want to say win, but that's a hell of a game that they just won on Thanksgiving.
Nothing Matt is saying makes any sense. You talk about the weapons on opposing offenses. You talk about the defensive line by opposing defenses. And you talk about scrambling quarterbacks. But all of a sudden, we're supposed to go out there and beat the fucking Eagles on the road? What are you talking about?
We would have beat them on the road last year if Brock Purdy didn't get hurt. And they got worse from last year.
All right, fine. Okay, fine. Okay.
All right. AJ Brown will be hurt.
AJ Brown will be hurt by that week.
Am I looking
and Jalen Hurts is I don't believe in Jalen Hurts.
So we're banking on injuries and then all right.
I'm just saying I gotta pick a loss too, right? Or I gotta pick I gotta pick losses and wins too. So and I think that I just want Eagles fans to have to eat that shit.
We play Thursday the 23rd, and then we don't play again until December 3rd. That's like a mini bye week. 23rd.
Yeah, it's Thursday. It's Thursday to Monday, I think, or Thursday to Sunday.
The 23rd.
There's only 30.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. So we go from a Thursday night game on the 23rd, and we don't play again until December 3rd. So you're absolutely right. It's a 10-day
10-day period. So it's like a mini bye week.
Yeah, but I understand what you guys are saying. It's a mini bye week, but there's travel for both. We are
good
going
point,
from
by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Eagles are coming off of Cowboys, Chiefs, and Bills before us. That's a lot to get through. That's a gauntlet for the Eagles.
That's a lot.
Fair.
But yeah, like a mini bye week. December 10th, Seahawks, dub.
I have this as a win also, by the way, just so you know, against the Eagles. I was just talking shit.
All right. And then final 5 games. Another game against the Seahawks. I'm going win. Win at home. Win. Mike?
I think we sweep the Seahawks this year.
Got it.
I'm kidding. I have us losing against them in Thanksgiving. I got them losing against Thanksgiving. So yeah. I got this one as a win, not the first one. But I want to say something. Can I just say this really quick?
Sure.
The only reason I have us, I think the losing on Thanksgiving Day is because I think we're super duper focused on the Eagles. I just want to make that very clear. You talk to Niners players, you talk to Eagles players, and they both have this game circled. And you guys mentioned the gauntlet that the Eagles are going through. We talked about the schedule for the 49ers obviously already, but I think that the Niners are overlooking, because we swept them last year. I think the Niners are overlooking the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks sneak one out, maybe by a field goal, maybe they win by 1 or 2 points, but it's because they're super duper focused on the break or the extended time to get to the Eagles, and they win that game. So that's why I have it going that way.
All right.
Cool.
Then Cardinals on the road.
Win. They're AIDS. They suck.
Yeah.
They're going to be the worst team in the league.
Kyler Murray is back, but he's rusty because he's been on the bench for so long, but we still win this game.
I bet you they're not going to play Kyler Murray at all this season. They are tanking.
And then a Christmas Day night game at home against the Ravens. I think we lose this one. Spoil Christmas. The Ravens that stole Christmas have a problem with running quarterbacks.
Go ahead, Zach.
They just have a problem with running quarterbacks, and what worse running quarterback for them to deal with than Lamar Jackson? Shredded us last time. We played them a couple years ago, 2019, I think, on the ground. I just think that we're going to lose this one. I don't know. I have a weird feeling about it.
Nope. Lamar Jackson, not impressed. He's going to get more and more hurt the more he goes along. If he doesn't improve his passing game, I'm not really concerned about it. Odell Beckham on his 4th ACL, not really worried about him. I don't know. I think that the 49ers give the fans a gift. They win this one, and Brock Purdy enters the NFL MVP conversation.
I don't think that there is a shot that the Baltimore Ravens can win this game. I don't see it. I don't see it. Mark Andrews in and out of the injury report. He's already questionable for week 1. I don't see it. He is the go-to guy. I'm not worried about J.K. Dobbins or anybody else behind him. And they have OBJ, who is a shell of himself. They do have Zay Flowers, the rookie that they picked up at the end of the first round. But I'm not worried about anything that the Baltimore Ravens present to us. I think that they will have – the Ravens in this game will have more penalties than any team that the Niners play against all season long. There's going to be so many penalties because they're worried about what this defensive line is going to do against their offense.
Easy win for the 49ers. I gotta address this real quick because I find this to be offensive. All due respect, fuck you. Warren Moon, one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time. This fucking has nothing to do with Lamar Jackson being black.
I love when Matt finds a comment just to like zero in on. And like just annihilate it. I absolutely love it, guys. I absolutely love it.
Fuck it. That's idiot shit. No offense.
You don't like black quarterbacks, Matt. What the fuck?
I'll do respect.
Matt doesn't like white tight ends.
Other than Warren Moon. Why didn't you say Randall Cunningham? Why didn't you say Donovan McNabb? Like what's your problem?
Doug Williams, buddy.
Ooh, I like that name. That's a good one too. All right, I'm sorry.
Dante Culpepper too, motherfucker.
Hey, he says F you too. It's all love, guys. Like that, but that's what
it is.
We want to.
It has nothing with it. I root for Trey Lance. I don't roll like that, dude. That's not that doesn't even enter my head. I'm looking at it from a purely football perspective. When these guys rely on athleticism, I feel the same way about before Josh Allen became a better passer. I felt the same way about Josh Allen. I'm like, he's going to burn himself out if he keeps taking hits like this. He's got to be able to do something because athleticism fades. And we've seen Lamar Jackson get injured more and more and more as the years have gone on. We saw it with Michael Vick, how Michael Vick, once the athleticism left, he wasn't as good a passer, and that limited his effectiveness. And Michael Vick will tell you to a T, he should have developed his passing more, and it would have, made his career longer.
There comes a point in every athletic quarterback's career where he has to focus on playing from the pocket versus relying on the athleticism, right? We saw Cam Newton not succeed at that, right? Once the athleticism went away from Cam Newton, he was clearly a shell of himself. Same thing, like Matt just said, goes for Michael Vick.
Do you remember when Cam Newton ran that ball in against Atlanta into the end zone and he got like ping-ponged like 3 times and looked like he was out on his feet? I was like, dude cannot keep taking hits like that.
Right. And so, these are the kind of things that happen, but people kind of, they want to ignore it. They want to make it racial, but it's not just about black quarterbacks. It's about athletic quarterbacks, guys that rely on their running ability. And the same thing is going to happen with Josh Allen if he doesn't learn to stand in the pocket consistently, right? So
same thing with Justin Herbert too. Justin Herbert takes way too many hits. And he's got to be more careful.
I mean, come on.
And just because Philly and Baltimore both have black quarterbacks, you also ignore the fact where I said that I was rooting for Trey Lance to work out. But hey, that's you, brother.
Right. So I got your back, bro. I got your back on this one here. So you're good to go, man. Don't worry about it. I got you, man.
All right. Let's wrap it up with these last 2 games. I think we can both do it. Commanders and Rams.
Loss. Commanders have everything to gain at this point in the season. They are vying for a wild card spot. They want to play upset. We got Eric Bieniemy really asserting himself at this point in the season. That defense is going to be a top 10. I'm saying it again. The defense is going to be a top 10 defense over there led by Ron Rivera. I got this one as a loss for your San Francisco 49ers, man. We're going to be in trouble here. They're going to be making some noise, and all they have to do is play spoiler. That's all they have
Yep.
going for them right now, and trying to make a wild card spot. The Washington Commanders are going to go on a hot streak in their last 5 games of the season. Loss.
I agree. Also, real quick, I did also compliment Deshaun Watson and said he was going to beat the 49ers, despite the fact that he beats his meat more than he beats other teams in football. And I agree that Tim Tebow is the worst first round quarterback I've ever seen in my life. Tim Tebow sucks ass. That being said, the Commanders I also think is a loss. Riverboat Ron at the end of the season, dude. NFC West is going to be iron sharpening iron. Those guys are going to be really good. Chase Young, really good, coming off of an injury, but he should be back. Terry McLaurin is a beast. Brian Robinson, beast. So
he meant East, NFC East. He meant to say NFC East.
Oh, did I say NFC? What did I say?
West.
You said West.
Yeah. Oh, NFC East. I'm sorry. Iron sharpening iron. I think 3 playoff teams come out of there again this year. They're just a really good division, but yeah, I think the Commanders have a really good defense, very physical. So very, very good.
I'm going win both these last games. I don't believe in Sam Howell. Sure, they're a good team. 49ers almost lost to the Commanders last year with both quarterbacks they played. I don't believe in them. And I think this may be Riverboat Ron's last year. Nothing tells me his incompetence like last year when he didn't even know that he was eliminated from the playoffs or could be eliminated from the playoffs going into that week 17 matchup when the reporters asked him and he goes, "We could be eliminated today?" Like, it's just astounding how incompetent he can be sometimes. I got win against Commanders, win against the Rams to wrap up the year.
Win against the Rams as well.
They're both trashy teams.
Yeah, win against the Rams. In fact, I think the Rams are literally playing for draft position, so they will try to lose this game at this point in the season.
Cardinals Rams 1-2.
Messages.
Cardinals Rams 1-2. So yeah, that's 49ers 12-5 for me. Division winners, by the way, 12-5.
I didn't keep track of mine.
Division winner though?
Division, yeah, I think so. I think they sweep the division again. Second year in a row.
Same.
Are we doing the preview show on Saturday? Are you guys available Saturday by chance?
I'll be available late Friday night or Saturday night too. We can do that. Real quickly before we go, guys, let's do quick offensive defensive player of the year and then rookie of the year.
Okay. For the 49ers, you mean, right?
For the 49ers, yeah.
All right. I got the Niners with 4 losses, guys, just so you know. I have the Niners going 13-4 throughout the regular season, which I think is a phenomenal record that should be enough to get them the number 1 seed, believe it or not. I think that bodes well. Damn, I hate saying that out loud. But I got the Niners going 13-4.
Damn. All right.
As far as the offensive, what did you say? Offensive player of the year?
Offensive MVP, yeah. Whoever's just the best player on offense.
I'm going to go with Christian McCaffrey, man. I have him not getting injured again this year, back-to-back seasons for the first time in his entire career where he's not hurt or dinged up, where he plays all 17 or 16 games for the first time in his career. I think that Christian McCaffrey was overused. Kyle Shanahan has already talked about wanting to watch his usage and things like that. I think that as of this moment, I think Elijah Mitchell is a better rusher with the ball than Christian McCaffrey, so Kyle won't hesitate to work those guys in and out. And then when Elijah Mitchell gets hurt, which is bound to happen based off of the history, he will use Christian McCaffrey a little bit more, but he's also going to rely on guys like TDP and Jordan Mason. I think he finds a way to make it work. Christian McCaffrey is going to be healthy for all 17 regular season games. He's going to be the offensive MVP for the 49ers this year. As far as rookie of the year, it's going to be really, really hard for me to not go with Blake Bell, but I'm going to try anyway. And I'm going to go with D. Winters. Ronnie Bell. I'm sorry. What did I say?
Blake Bell.
Blake.
Oh, that's a tight. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Blake. I'm going to go with, instead of Ronnie Bell, I'm actually going to go with D. Winters. I think that there's going to be some turnover at that third linebacker position, and I think Winters finally gets his way in there. I think he earned some things, his speed, his ability, and his trusting the offense, just playing his cues the right way. I'm going to go with D. Winters, making it for the defensive rookie for the 49ers. I think he's going to make some waves there. He's going to be phenomenal. So those are my 2 guys, Christian McCaffrey and D. Winters as the rookie guy. Did I miss anything? Was I supposed to say something else?
Defensive player of the year.
Oh, I'm gonna go with the guy that got the big ass contract, man. Nick Bosa. I know that's low hanging fruit. That sounds like it's cheap, right? But I do think Nick Bosa plays the most important role on this entire team. There was a part of me that wanted to go with Javon Hargrave, but when I look at his record and everything, I think we see more of an Eric Armstead like season for him. 7.5, 8.5 sacks. Just really, really solid against the run and all. I don't think that there's another defensive player on the 49ers roster that's going to go out there and get defensive player of the year other than Nick Bosa. Shout out to Drake Jackson, though, my second guy there. I think he's going to prove that, hey, I should be starting on the opposite side of Nick Bosa. And we're going to have no qualms about that in 2024. But right now, this is Nick Bosa's team.
All right.
Zach?
Offensive player of the year, Christian McCaffrey. I think he's going to have as close to 1,000 yard season as possible, if not get there. Defensive player of the year, it's got to be Nick Bosa. I mean, he just got his money, probably still as motivated as ever to get the job done this year. And I think from the defensive standpoint, he's going to do as much as he can to drag the 49ers to a Super Bowl ring. And rookie of the year, was that the other question?
Yeah.
Oh, this is tough. That is a really tough one, but I'll go with the low hanging fruit, and I'll go with Ronnie Bell. I think he has maybe not a huge impact on the offense because there's a ton of stars everywhere, but has a nice impact on the offense, and makes a role for himself, possibly with Ray out, possibly not, but we'll see. What do you got, Matt?
All right. I'm going to go 49ers offensive MVP. I'm going to go with Brock Purdy. I think that we finally see somebody surpass Jeff Garcia's team record for passing yards this year. I think he has 30-plus passing touchdowns. And I think he gets a stray MVP vote or two. I really do think that he's going to be what the 49ers are looking for. And Kyle Shanahan better hope he's what he was looking for. Otherwise, he's going to be in trouble. I think that with all these weapons, it's going to be one of those things where the ball's going to get spread around, and you just want to spread that ball around. And I think Purdy is a good quarterback to be able to do that and distribute the ball and kind of play point guard for all the weapons on the team. One ball to go around. I think Purdy's going to get it to a lot of them. Defensive MVP, I'm with you guys. I think Nick Bosa. Until you show me somebody who's going to be better than him, I think it's him all day. I wouldn't be surprised if he was back on track to challenge for a back-to-back defensive player of the year, which I don't think has been done since J.J. Watt did it, but we'll see if that happens. And then rookie of the year, don't believe the hype, okay? Jake Moody is a good kicker. He's going to come out, and he's going to make people feel comfortable in the kicking game and not really worry about, what's going on there. The misses are just part of it. Trying to get used to it. Who knows if that quad injury was actually affecting him earlier than what was reported, and that's why they shut him down for a second. But Kyle Shanahan said today that he thinks that Jake Moody, barring a setback, is going to be available for week 1. I think that he does a great job. So,
all right. This football's finally here, guys. We've made it through the long off season. The dark days are over.
First game tomorrow, baby.
First game tomorrow. I love it. We will be live for a 49ers Steelers preview either Friday or Saturday. We'll put out the details once we iron them out. But yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. Hit like, hit subscribe. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Matt, you want to carry us out?
Absolutely. This is fun. Love doing this. As Mike said, come join us over here on the Hive, because once the regular season starts, these simulcasts are going to be over. Not going to be doing it, but we would love to have you here. Fun. Don't take anything that we say, too seriously. It's all football. It's all love. This is only talk about football. If it's argument, it is what it is. That being said, thank you guys as always. We respect everybody here. We have respect for everybody. We love having 49ers football talk, and the season's about to start, baby. Only a couple more days until we see the 49ers go into Pittsburgh and beat the brakes off the Steelers. Easy 1-0. Let's get it done. Nick Bosa in the house. Brock Purdy healthy. Trent Williams still a goddamn beast. So that being said, for Zach, for Mike, for myself, until next time, everyone, go Niners.